Hey Stoic friends, welcome back to my channel. There comes a moment where you no longer explain yourself. Not a word more, not a whisper less. The excuses, the compromises, the bending and shrinking, all gone. You stop walking into rooms that never deserved your presence in the first place. You stop softening your voice, dulling your edge, just to make the fragile ones comfortable. That moment, it's not flashy. It's not a scene from a movie. It's the gut-wrenching stillness of knowing. You're done. Done with pretending. Done with being played like a pawn. And in that silence, something violent is born. Not grace, not politeness, rage. A rage buried beneath years of playing nice, years of holding back for the sake of others. That rage becomes your clarity. It becomes the fire that burns off the dead weight of who you used to be. And from that instant on, you don't chase peace, you become it. You don't seek approval, you command an undeniable presence. You walk into a room and the air bends around you, not because you're loud, but because your silence demands attention. You don't have to shout to prove your strength when the room can feel the wars you've survived without a word. We live in a world drowning in noise. Everyone screaming, posting, chasing validation like desperate beggars. But the ones who've really been through hell, they're not posting. They're not begging for likes. They're not wearing their scars as a performance. They say nothing. They just move. And when they move, the ground shakes beneath them. We've been conditioned to be polite, agreeable, to shrink our shadows and soften our fires. But eventually, you snap. Not in front of them, not for them, but for yourself. You get tired of watching the weak win because you've been too noble to clap back. And that's when the change happens. Not in your words, but in the silence. Not a breakdown, a rebirth. You become the man who doesn't flinch at lies. The man who doesn't beg for the respect he's owed. The man who doesn't explain why he's silent. Because real power doesn't need to explain. It just is. It observes. It calculates. It moves. And when it strikes, it doesn't make noise. It makes impact. Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." But most men will never make it to reality. They drown in the illusions, the fantasies of revenge, the fears of failure, the envy disguised as ambition. And all of it, every bit of it, is a chain you've locked around your own neck. Stoicism is warfare. It's you versus every weakness, every temptation to fall back into softness, every urge to react to the noise. It's standing firm when your ego screams for attention. It's remaining silent when chaos begs you to strike. It's walking away from battles you could win because your peace is worth more than proving a point. It's that moment when someone tries to disrespect you and your first instinct isn't to lash out. It's to smile. Not because it didn't hurt, but because it couldn't. You've become the man who knows how dangerous he is and chooses to remain still. If you've ever been laughed at while you were down, if you've ever been doubted while you were silent, if you've ever been ignored because you refused to play the game, this message was written in your soul. If you've ever walked out of a room knowing your silence spoke louder than anything you could have said, then you already know what most men never will. You don't need to fight when you've already won inside. These 9 Stoic keys, they're not lessons, they're revelations. They're not meant to impress anyone. They're meant to strip you of every weakness. They don't make you look wise. They make you something this world rarely sees anymore. Untouchable. A man who no one can move unless he chooses to be moved. So don't treat this like a video. Treat it like a last warning. The moment before the storm inside you becomes a hurricane. Don't just watch. Don't just nod. Let this tear through you. Let it crack open every part of you that's been hiding. Let it remind you who you were before the world tried to make you shrink. Like, share, subscribe. Not because I asked, but because somewhere inside you knows this isn't just entertainment, it's exorcism. And when it's over, don't just leave a comment, leave a declaration. A silent shot fired into the world. A reminder that you've stopped playing in their circus. Say it out loud in your mind, quiet in your words, and heavy in your energy. I don't compete. I control. Now let's go. Number 1. Move in silence. Let results make the noise. There's a moment in every warrior's life when the shouting stops, not because he's lost his voice, but because he's found his edge. A man gets tired of screaming into voids filled with hollow people. He gets tired of explaining gold to minds made of rust. He learns the brutal truth. Noise is cheap, but silence is sacred. Silence is war paint. When you move in silence, you become the threat no one saw coming. You become the chill in the air before the sky splits open. The kind of man who walks into a room and shifts gravity, not because he said something, but because he didn't. You've been there. You told them your dreams, and they laughed. You offered your heart, and they stepped on it with dirty boots. You showed your plans, and they stole them, watered them down, and sold them as theirs. That betrayal? Good. Let it burn. Let it scar you into something divine. Because now you've learned. The next version of you doesn't talk. He executes. The next version of you doesn't announce. He erupts. You don't rise with noise. You rise like the sun, unstoppable, undeniable, and without permission. Moving in silence doesn't mean hiding. It means refusing to be touched by mediocrity. It means building in the shadows so your light is blinding when it hits. It means no more breadcrumb trails for people to follow. No more previews for minds that never deserved a seat at your table. You don't need applause from the unqualified. You don't need likes, comments, or cheers from people who couldn't survive a single chapter of your story. Let them wonder. Let them question. Let them lie to themselves while you rewrite your future behind closed doors. That's not mystery. It's power in its purest form. Epictetus didn't just say, "Don't explain your philosophy." Embody it. He meant, don't waste your breath on cowards. Don't cast your diamonds into the mouths of swine. Let your scars be your sermons. Let your progress be so precise, so surgical, that it silences every doubt before it's even spoken. You want revenge? Then don't shout. Shatter. Shatter every version of you they thought they knew. Become the man who disappears, then reappears with receipts, healed, rebuilt, unrecognizable. Not out of spite, but out of sacred evolution. Because silence isn't empty. It's full of loaded intentions. It's the calm before an empire breaks ground. It's the breath before the avalanche. From this moment forward, you speak less and become more. You move with a fury wrapped in stillness. No more warnings, no more leaks, no more mercy. You are not here to be understood. You are here to be unforgettable. Number 2, master your emotions because they want you to lose control. They don't want your destruction, they want your reaction, that twitch in your jaw, that crack in your tone, that explosion when you slam the door or throw the chair or scream into the abyss hoping someone hears you. But the moment they pull your strings and you dance, you lose. The man who loses his temper is the man who hands over the sword. And in that split second of rage, you give them everything. Your mind, your pride, your control. You burn your kingdom down just to prove a point. But kings don't prove. They protect. They preserve. They calculate in silence while others choke on noise. You have no idea how dangerous you become when you don't react. When you stare betrayal in the eye and blink slower. When you hear the insult, feel the sting, and still keep your tone calm and your steps measured. That's not weakness. That's surgical dominance. You think they're testing your emotions? No, they're begging you to give them a reason to sleep better at night. They want to know you're human, flawed, crackable, loud, and lost like them. But when you stay quiet in the storm, when you sip your tea while the room burns, when your voice stays low while theirs breaks from screaming, that's when the fear creeps in, because they realize you're not just calm, you're calculated. Marcus Aurelius wasn't writing poetry. He was documenting how to walk through hell without flinching. How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it? You don't get it until you've buried your own rage, until you've said things you can't take back, until you've broken things that never deserved your fury. That's the moment the lesson brands your soul. Emotion is not your enemy, but losing control to it is. Let them test you. Let her raise her voice and twist your words. Let your so-called bro gossip behind your back. Let your boss condescend in front of the team. But you stay ice, not cold, ice, unmoved, unbothered, unbreakable, because when you master your emotions, you become a silent weapon. You become the storm that looks like a breeze, until everything falls down. They want chaos, you give them calm. They want noise, you hand them silence. They want to drag you into the pit, but you build a throne there instead. The world doesn't need another loud, broken man throwing tantrums like a child with a beard. It needs the one who knows how to take heat without melting, who knows how to swallow fire and breathe it out as light. So next time someone tries to rattle you, don't react. Reign. Smile with the quiet of a man who's already won. The moment you control yourself, you own the battlefield. Number 3. Never explain yourself to those who benefit from your confusion. You ever notice how some people pretend not to understand you just so they can keep control? They need your silence to look like pride. They need your self-respect to smell like ego. Because the moment they actually see you clearly, their power evaporates. So instead, they play dumb. They smirk. They twist. They hide their weakness behind fake confusion. And every time you try to explain yourself to them, you're not giving them truth. You're feeding them ammo. You're pouring pure gold into greedy hands that only know how to turn it into chains. That's why you stop. Not out of arrogance, not out of bitterness, but out of awakening. Because one day you realize, no matter how beautifully you speak, a blind man won't see, and a broken one will only sharpen your words into weapons. There are people out here who crave your confusion. It gives them leverage. If they can't reach your level, they'll drag you into arguments that make you question your own mind. They want you explaining, defending, pleading for their approval, because your clarity threatens their control. You want to live like a Stoic? Then stop leaking your peace to people who drink chaos for breakfast. Seneca said, "A wise man is content with himself." And that's not just a quote, it's a damn sword. You don't owe explanations to those who want to see you crack. You owe them silence. You owe them distance, because the ones who get you, they feel you without words, and the ones who don't, no novel, no speech, no perfect line will ever be enough. Their ears were never open, their minds were already made up. So let them choke on their assumptions. Let them gossip in circles while you walk straight. Let them call your silence rude, your strength arrogant, your standards too much. Let them. That's not your burden to carry. That's their smallness screaming. And you? You don't shrink to fit into their version of the story. You burn the script and write your own, with no need to explain a damn word. The real ones, they watch how you move. They feel your energy before you speak. They don't need explanations. They read your silence like a prophecy and respect your stillness like a storm that hasn't hit yet. So from now on, save your breath, save your fire. Let the confused stay confused. Let the snakes hiss. Let the cheap seats scream. You're busy building something too big to explain. Number 4, never be too available. Access to you should be earned, not given. You've been a doormat for too long, always there when they call, always dropping everything to be the person they run to when they need something. Let's face it, you've allowed your time to be taken for granted, and it's time to burn that habit to the ground. The more accessible you make yourself, the less they respect you. And the worst part? You're giving it all away, and they never even say thank you. You're the free sample at the store, the spare tire when their life's flat. But the truth is this: people don't value what they get for free. The more you're always available, the less they see you, the less they appreciate you. Your time, it's a treasure, not a currency that anyone can exchange whenever they feel like it. And right now, you're letting them squander it. This isn't arrogance, this is self-respect. This is the moment you stand up and tell the world you're not to be taken lightly. Stoicism teaches that your presence is rare. It's a gift, not a guarantee. Marcus Aurelius got it when he said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If you're constantly drowning in the demands of others, you'll forget your own soul. You'll forget what you need, who you are. You'll be swallowed by their noise, their chaos, their neediness, and you'll lose yourself in the process. No one respects a man who is always on call. No one values a man who is always willing to give and give until he has nothing left. You want to be the one who wins the game. Then stop playing by their rules. Stop being predictable. Stop being always there when they need you. Stop letting them suck your life force. Stop answering their texts, their calls, their needs immediately. Make them earn you. Make them work for your attention. Let them wonder where you've gone, what you're doing, who you're becoming when you stop answering to them on command. They will notice. They will realize that you're not just a phone call away. You're a mountain to climb, a peak to reach. You're not just an easy out. You're the prize. They have to deserve you. And here's the cold truth: they will vanish. The moment you stop being a free refill, they'll disappear faster than you can blink. Those who only came to take, to drain you, to treat you like an option, they're gone. The ones who were never interested in your value, who only ever wanted to use you, will scatter like cockroaches when the light comes on. And that's when you know you've cut out the dead weight. You've stripped away the fake ones who didn't have the respect, the decency, or the understanding to appreciate your worth. Now, the people who remain, they'll understand, they'll know, because they'll see it in how you move, in the space you command. They'll see that you've raised your standards, and they'll have to step up or step out. They'll know that your attention is no longer something they get for free. They'll see that the real you is untouchable by those who only want to drain you. This is about boundary setting, hard boundaries. This is about showing the world you're not a doormat, that you're not someone's personal backup plan. Your time is precious. Your energy is rare. And if they want a piece of it, they have to prove they're worthy. Stop being someone's afterthought. Stop letting people take advantage of you like a spare tire, only to toss you aside when the ride's smooth again. You're not a free refill. You're not a convenience. You're not a second option. You're not always on call. Your time is an investment, and not everyone is worthy of it. Make them earn your presence. Make them appreciate the fact that you choose to share your energy. Let them understand that your attention is like platinum, reserved for those who know the value of what it takes to earn it. Number 5. Observe more than you speak. The quiet mind is always a step ahead. You ever step into a room and the noise hits you like a wave? The air is thick with words that mean nothing. Everyone's talking, but none of it is real. It's just noise, meaningless chatter. People scrambling to fill the silence with their egos, their insecurities. But you're different. You don't need to be heard. You don't need to rush to speak. While they drown in their noise, you stand still, watching, listening. The quiet mind doesn't just observe, it calculates, it prepares. While they're spilling their thoughts in a desperate bid to be seen, you're sitting back, watching them unravel. Their words are nothing more than threads, thin, fragile, and they don't even know they're dangling them right in front of you. You see their fears, their flaws, their insecurities laid bare. And while they think they're in control, you are already 10 moves ahead, plotting your next move with the precision of a surgeon. That's the power of silence. It's the weapon of the undefeated. Epictetus said it loud and clear. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. But here's the truth. Listening isn't just a passive act. It's warfare. It's the sharpest weapon in your arsenal. While they're busy making noise, you're analyzing every single word, every breath they take, every nervous laugh, every lie they tell themselves. Their weaknesses are laid bare, and you see them all. The louder they shout, the more exposed they become. And while they're dancing on their own insecurities, you're preparing to strike. In silence, you collect more than they could ever give you in 1,000 words. And the beauty? They never see it coming. Because when you don't speak, when you control the silence, you become impossible to predict. They're out there shouting, trying to grab attention, trying to make their mark on the world. But you've already carved yours. They can't read you, they can't touch you. You've already seen through their games, their manipulations, and you're playing a game they'll never understand. The quiet mind? It's not weak, it's unstoppable. People want you to react. They want you to join their circus, to get lost in their noise. But you're not their puppet. You don't need to speak to exist. You don't need to shout to prove your worth. You are the storm that's silent, waiting to break. And when you finally speak, the world will pause. Every single word will strike with more power than their noise ever will. In a world where everyone is fighting to be heard, be the one who never needs to yell. Let them scream their insecurities, their weaknesses. While they're talking, you're learning. While they're rushing to make noise, you're already moving in silence, preparing for their downfall. When you finally make your move, it'll be devastating, because silence isn't weakness. It's the power to observe, to see everything, to move with precision. You don't need to prove anything by talking. You don't need to explain yourself. You just need to watch. Watch them while they watch you. And when you finally speak, they'll be paralyzed with the weight of your words. Speak once and let them remember. While they waste their time filling the air with noise, you're the one shaping the future. The quiet mind doesn't just survive, it dominates. Number 6. Learn to end things without closure, Not every exit needs a door. Here's the cold, brutal truth. You won't always get closure. That chapter you thought would end with an explanation, she won't give it to you. The friend who stabbed you in the back, he'll never admit it. The door you thought would swing open, it slams shut and locks itself. And that's okay. Better than okay. That's freedom. Stop chasing answers that will never come. You want closure? Close the damn door yourself. No apology, no conversation, no validation. That's what Stoicism teaches you. You don't need the answers to move on. You need the strength to walk away, to decide that the end doesn't need to be wrapped in a bow. Some things end with a whisper. Some things end with nothing. And that's the real power. True power isn't in the final word. They don't deserve the satisfaction of your explanation. Real strength lies in walking away unmoved, untouched, unbroken. You don't need anyone's permission to cut ties. You don't need anyone's apology to heal. You decide when it's over. When you leave, leave with no doubts, no regrets, no loose ends. The truth is already inside you. It's done. You're done. And you're better for it. They'll never understand. They'll never know why you vanished. But they'll feel it. They'll feel the silence you left behind like a wound in their chest. And that's your power. You don't need to explain yourself to those who never cared to understand you. You don't need to beg for answers from the same people who tore you apart. Why would you beg for an explanation from someone who never even respected you enough to tell the truth? It's time to stop reopening old wounds. It's time to stop running in circles, chasing explanations that'll never come. You don't need the closure you think you're missing. You are the closure. And if you can walk away without a word, without a reason, without a single backward glance, that's when you realize the power you've always had. Closure is a myth. It's a mirage. The real truth? The real power is in ending things without permission, without explanation, without apology. Real closure comes from knowing you don't need them to fix what they broke. The only thing that matters is you moving forward. And the ones who wanted your energy, your attention, your love, they can sit in their regret. You'll be too far ahead for them to catch up. Number 7. Suffer in silence, so they never know your next move. Life will break you. The world will throw its worst at you. Betrayal, that gut-wrenching, soul-crushing betrayal. Heartbreak, the kind that leaves you gasping for air. Failure, so sharp it cuts deeper than a knife. You'll want to scream. You'll want to bleed your pain into the world. Don't. Don't you dare give them the satisfaction. Don't let them see the blood, the tears, the raw wreckage they've caused. Don't give them the pleasure of watching you crumble. The moment they see your pain, they own it. They own your agony. They feast on your destruction like scavengers circling the broken. So you suffer in silence. You let the world believe you're fine. You let them think you've moved on. But in the shadows, you are transforming. Every ounce of pain, every scar, every tear is fueling something terrifying. You're not breaking, you're building. You're forging something stronger than anything they could ever imagine. You've been to hell, alone, and no one has the slightest idea. That's your weapon. Pain that you swallow becomes the rage that will destroy everything in its path. The world doesn't need to see your wounds. They don't deserve to see you bleed. Let them think they've crushed you. Let them believe they've buried you. They haven't. They've only made you more lethal. Every battle you face in silence adds another layer of armor to your soul. Every loss becomes a lesson in how to outlive their expectations. You are the storm they'll never see coming. the fury they won't even feel until it's too late. Pain that no one sees doesn't weaken you, it makes you invincible. You've been through hell, but in that silence, you're rewriting your story. When you rise, they won't recognize you. They'll think they know your limits. They have no idea what's about to break loose, because you don't need their sympathy. You don't need their pity. You need nothing but silence. And in that silence, you become a force so terrifying, they'll tremble at the mere thought of you. You will rise unstoppable, but they won't see it coming. They never will. So suffer, in silence. Let them watch. Let them wonder. When you rise, you'll do it in a way they'll never forget, and they won't even know how to fight back. Number 8. Outgrow. Don't outshout. There's a war raging, one that doesn't need your voice. The world is drowning in noise, everyone shouting for attention, everyone desperate to prove their worth. And you don't need to join them. You don't need to scream or rage or prove anything. What you need is to become a force so undeniable, so crushing, that they'll feel you long before they see you. The ones who mocked you, they'll watch in silence, unable to comprehend how you've turned the tables. The ones who left you, they'll search your name in the dead of night, wondering how they missed what was right in front of them. And you know why? Because you're not here to play small. Stoicism doesn't demand your reaction. It demands your evolution. Don't waste another second proving your worth to people who can't see it. Let them shout. Let them claw at each other, trying to drag themselves up with their petty little games. You're already out of their reach. Epictetus said, "If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation." And that's where your power lies. In the silence, in the refusal to play in their playground. You've stopped allowing them to control you. Your mind is no longer a slave to their noise. You don't need to fight back. You need to transcend. While they waste their energy on pointless arguments, you're building your future. Let them yell. Let them try to drag you back into their low, petty world. You're evolving so far beyond them that they can't even see you anymore. You want to outsmart the world? Let them think you've disappeared. Let them talk about you when they're drunk. Let them make assumptions in the darkness of their own ignorance. Meanwhile, you're creating an empire, brick by brick, move by move. And they won't even know how to deal with it when the empire finally stands. Don't stoop to their level. Rise above them. The noise doesn't deserve your attention. You're rewriting the rules of power in silence, making your legacy inevitable. And when they finally see you, when they witness the tidal wave you've created, they won't even know how to respond. They'll be left in the rubble of their own noise, while you stand in the quiet center of your empire, invincible, untouchable. You don't need their validation. You don't need to shout. The world will hear you when you don't make a sound. Number 9. Know when to be feared. Kindness is power, but don't be soft. The world craves the nice guy until he's a punching bag. They want your warmth until they realize it's the same warmth that'll burn them alive. Stoicism isn't about being soft. It's about being a force wrapped in silence. It's kindness without surrender. It's patience laced with the cold certainty that, if pushed, you'll rip their world apart. You want to be a man they can trust? Fine. Be the calm before the storm. Let them think you're harmless. Let them think you're soft. But understand this. That kindness, that's your armor. And the moment they step over the line, you become the weapon they never saw coming. Marcus Aurelius didn't talk about peace for the sake of peace. He talked about mastery. Mastery over your mind, your spirit, and your boundaries. He understood that the strongest are not those who bow down to every plea. They're the ones who can sit still in a room full of chaos, smiling while the world burns around them, knowing they have the power to wipe it out with a single word. You're not here to play games. You're not here to be the nice guy who gets walked on. Stoicism isn't about being a pushover, it's about being a lion in sheep's clothing. You forgive, but you never forget. You speak when it serves you, and when you speak, the earth shakes. Your silence, it becomes a weapon in itself. You don't need to say a word for them to know you'll destroy everything in your path, if you have to. Kindness is a shield, but don't mistake that for weakness. When they try to test you, show them the monster they never saw in you. Not with words, but with actions, with your resolve, with your boundaries that stand like steel. Let them learn what true respect looks like. It's not given, it's earned, and when you give it, they feel it in their bones. You're not here for petty vengeance. You're here to leave them shaking with the realization that the only thing they should fear is crossing you. Revenge is fleeting. Respect is eternal. And if they can't understand your kindness, they'll fear the silence you leave behind. So stand firm, walk quietly, but know this: when the storm finally breaks, they won't be ready for the wreckage you'll bring. You don't just live to survive, you're here to reign. And don't let anyone forget, your kindness is the calm before the destruction. These 9 Stoic Keys, they aren't just lessons. They are your battle cry, your war strategy, your silent revolution. For those who've been tested by fire and survived, for the men who rise from the wreckage stronger, sharper, colder. These aren't tips, they're the foundations of domination. You don't shout to be seen. You don't scramble to be heard. You don't beg for validation. You don't need to explain your worth. You simply become untouchable. You stand in the storm and let the world crash against you, while you remain the one who's always standing when the dust settles. You move in silence, and the earth trembles beneath your feet. Thank you for watching, but don't mistake this for a lesson. This is a warning. Once you take these keys into your life, there is no turning back. You'll look at the world differently. No longer will you be bound by their rules. No longer will you chase or compete. When they doubt you, they'll see you rise in the shadow of their expectations. And when they wonder where you went, they'll feel the cold, crushing absence of your presence. Like, comment, share, subscribe. But the real truth is, never forget, you were not born to follow. You were born to obliterate everything that stands in your way. You were made to dominate in silence, with no announcement, no grand gestures, no explanation. Because when you rise, they'll know. They won't hear you coming, but they will feel the devastation when you leave.